Hello, today we will talk about identifying object relative clauses, and we are looking at page 55 in our Grammar Level 3 supplement book, which is taken from Grammar and Beyond Level 3. Again, we're looking at identifying object relative clauses, and I usually call these adjective clauses, as we have mentioned in previous videos and during class. But this book calls them relative clauses. Adjective clauses and relative clauses, we are still talking about the same thing. All of these clauses, these subject verbs, work like an adjective. They give us more information about a noun. They modify a noun. So they're all the same type of clause. However, we're going to be talking about the clauses that have our keyword as the object. Let's take a look at the grammar presentation. In an object relative clause, the relative pronoun is the object of the clause. In an identifying relative clause, an identifying relative clause gives essential information about the noun that it modifies. So in this case, we're looking at the relative pronoun is the object of the clause. So we're going to take a look at the two examples here. We have evidence is sometimes inaccurate. Police call this evidence. So this is the object of, police collect. This is the object of the verb collect. This is our two independent sentences. And then if we look at our combined sentences with an adjective clause, this is our adjective clause example, and we have evidence that police collect is sometimes inaccurate. In this case, our adjective clause is describing evidence. It's still working as an adjective. That's why it's called an adjective clause. It still works like an adjective to give us more information about evidence. And police is the subject and collect is the verb. So we have a different subject inside of our adjective clause, and our keyword, our relative pronoun, is working as the object. Please turn the page. We're going to look at a few more examples here. The object of a relative pronoun follows the noun it replaces and comes at the beginning of the relative clause. The object of the relative clause comes after the noun. So the relative pronoun, this is our keyword, follows the noun it replaces. Follows the noun that it modifies. And it comes at the beginning of the relative clause. In an object relative clause, the relative clause pronoun is the object of the clause. And this is why it's called an object relative. The key word is object inside the clause. So it's not working as the subject, it's working as the object inside of the clause. The key word is the object inside of the clause. I'll move this over so you can see what I'm writing. If we look at our examples, these are two different examples. This is before and this is after, or this is with the adjective clause, and these are the two independent sentences. Humans aren't aware of smells. A dog can recognize smells. So these are two independent sentences. We can see that these are beginning level or level 1 sentences. They're very basic, simple sentences. And what we do when we use a relative clause is we try to combine these sentences. We're trying to give more information instead of writing two simple sentences, we're just combining and using complex sentences. In this case, we're going to explain more about the word smells. Humans aren't aware of smells that a dog can recognize. In this case, our relative pronoun, our relative clause, is still giving us more information about smells. What kind of smells? Oh, the smells that a dog can recognize. And then we have a different subject and a verb. So our form is still the same. We still need a subject and a verb. In our previous chapter, we looked at adjective clauses where our keyword worked as the subject. In this one, it works as the object. A dog can recognize smells. We are taking out this second word smell and we're making this into an adjective clause. If we look at B, use the relative pronouns who, that, or whom with people. Use which or that for things. This is the same rule as we saw with the subject pronouns. There's one more. This word only works as an object. It cannot be a subject. Also, an important thing to notice about this word is that if we look down at the bottom of the page, actually there's a little note about it. It says the pronoun whom is very formal. It is much less common than that or who. As a matter of fact, there are many English speakers, native English speakers even, who don't know how to use this word whom. Therefore, this word in my class is an optional word. It is not required to use this word because even native speakers struggle to use this word. So we're going to focus on who, that, and which. These are the same words that we already have been using. If we look at our example over here, detectives are people. What kind of people? Give me more information about this. People who I respect tremendously. Here we have our subject, I. Here we have our verb, respect. I respect who? Who do I respect? I respect what or who? In this case, our keyword is working as the object of the verb respect. I respect them. I respect these people. And our whole adjective clause is giving us more information about people. What kind of people? The people that I respect. We have a different subject, and so our keyword is working as the object. These pronouns are frequently omitted in speaking. And actually, often it says they are not omitted in formal writing. You should probably check with your writing teacher, and you should also check with the style that you're using. If you're using MLA style or APA style or something like that. You will see a lot of these reduced or omitted. Forensic evidence is something that police count on. Here we have our subject, police, count on, and then we've got this thing. Police count on something, what? And so we're modifying this. Here's our spoken or our reduced. This is the full version, and this is the omitted version right here. Forensic evidence is something police count on. So we often remove this keyword when we're speaking. When referring to people, that is more common than who when it's an object. Detective Paula Cho is a person that I admire very much. Detective Paula Cho is a person who I admire very much. Both of these are acceptable. Detective Paula Cho is a person whom I admire very much. Again, I don't usually focus on this. It's an object word. It works like the word him or them. So if you remember the M at the end, I admire him, I admire them. And so you can see that this is working as the object. If we look at C, use whose plus a noun to show possession. We covered this today in class. Whose cannot be omitted. It cannot be omitted because it's an adjective. It's not a pronoun. It's not replacing anything. And we need a noun after it. Whose car? In this case, we can see this. The thieves stole someone's car. The thieves stole it. And it belongs to the person. The person whose car the thieves stole was a friend of mine. The thieves stole his car. That person was a friend of mine. So we have our main clause, the person. Which person? Oh, the person whose car the thief stole was a friend of mine. Use an identifying relative clause to give essential information that defines or identifies the noun that it modifies. We will talk more about identifying adjective clauses in our next section. So let's take a few minutes and look at a few examples here. We're going to look at a few examples. Let's see here. We're going to look at a few examples of object relative pronouns, and then we'll look at some that are subject or object. We've got an example here that's I read a book. You gave me the book. In this case, we can see that we have the word book repeated twice. We can also see that we have a subject here and a verb here and a different subject here and a verb here. If I want to use this as my main clause, I read the book. Which book? Not just any book, it was a special book. It was a special book because you gave me the book. We're going to combine these by using an adjective clause. How can we do that? We're going to take this out and we're going to use one of our adjective clause words. We're going to use the word that. And then we're going to put a period here. So our full sentence will look like, I read the book, or a book, we'll change it to, I read the book that you gave me, or you gave to me. I don't care which one. In this case, where is our adjective clause? Where is our adjective clause? Our adjective clause is this. And it's describing more about the word book. Which book? The book that you gave me. Please be careful. Please be careful. You cannot put it at the end. You cannot put it at the end, because that would be a double object. This word, our keyword, actually replaces the word the book or it. No double object in adjective clauses. No double object. If we look at our original sentences, I read the book, you gave me that book, or you gave me the book. I read the book that you gave me. You cannot use the word it because this word is a pronoun. It replaces this noun. It replaces the word book, or it replaces the word it. Some languages allow you or even require you to put this extra pronoun here, but not in English. So again, you cannot have this other pronoun at the end of your adjective clause because that would be a double object. No double objects are allowed in English. Let's take a look at another example. I finally heard the song that you like. Where is our adjective clause in this one? Where is our adjective clause? Our adjective clause is right here, that you like. This is our adjective clause. What kind of song? Which song? Tell me more about the song. Oh, the song that you like. It's not just any song. It's not the song. It's specifically the song that you like. You could also change this into a regular adjective and say your favorite song or something like that if you want to. Maybe it's not your favorite. Maybe it's just the one you like. Sometimes we need this full clause after, but it describes a song. It works like an adjective to give us more information about song. Be careful. Here we have our subject. Here we have our verb. And so our keyword here is working as the object of the clause. It's the object inside of the clause. You like the song that you like. You cannot put an it here. You cannot put it or that or any other word at the end because we already have the word here at the beginning of our clause. Your clause must be near the noun that it modifies. You must have it touching the noun that it modifies. And you need your keyword at the front of the clause, even if there's a different subject after it. We're going to look at a couple more examples. We're going to look at some subject adjective clauses. And we're going to look at some object adjective clauses. Subject adjective clauses are the ones where our keyword is working as the subject. That's why it's called a subject adjective clause. All of these words describe a noun. All of them work like adjectives. And in our subject adjective clauses, specifically, our keyword is working as the subject. I'm trying to get the glare to go away. The keyword is working as the subject. In our object adjective clauses, the keyword is working or is functioning as the object inside of the adjective clause. Please be careful. A subject adjective clause can be the subject in a main clause, or it can be an object in a main clause. So we're looking inside of our adjective clauses. Let's look at a couple of examples. That person is my friend who works at Into. In this example, we have our adjective clause right here. This is our adjective clause. We also have this whole thing, my friend, with our noun. This whole thing is the object inside of our main clause. Our main clause, we have that person is our subject. We've got a verb. And this whole thing right here is working as the object in our main clause. My friend who works at Into. We've got an adjective clause to describe which friend, not just my friend, but specifically my friend who works at Into. And the whole thing is functioning as the object in our main clause. This is a subject adjective clause because our keyword here is working as the subject for the verb inside of the adjective clause. This is our subject, this is our verb. So this is called a subject adjective clause. This subject adjective clause is the object inside of our main clause. Let's look at another example. The book that shows the equation was returned to the library. Where is our adjective clause? Our adjective is that shows the equation. But if we look at this whole thing, the book that shows the equation, this is our noun, and this whole thing is the subject of our main clause. This whole thing is working as a subject, and this is our verb, was returned. In our main clause, the book was returned. Which book? What kind of book? Oh, specifically the book that shows the equation. So we can see that our adjective clause is giving us more information about book. That's why it's an adjective clause. It works like an adjective. And we can see that our keyword is working as the subject inside of our adjective clause. We've got our keyword that is the subject for the verb shows. Subject adjective clause means the keyword works as the subject inside of the adjective clause. If we look at our object adjective clauses, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so that we can fit a little bit more into the screen here. If we look at our object adjective clauses, we can see a few other examples. This whole thing right here, Mary is the girl who I met yesterday. This whole thing is the object in our main clause. We've got our subject here and our verb here. Main clause, subject, verb, and this whole thing is the object. But if we say Mary is the girl, you say which girl? What girl? Oh, the girl who I met yesterday. Can I say who I met her yesterday? No, I cannot say that. Why? Our keyword here is the object in our sentence because we have a different subject. I met her, I met him, and so it's working as the object. We cannot have another word. You cannot say who I met her. That's a double object. It's not allowed. So you have to say who I met yesterday. Yesterday is our new teacher. This is very common. The man I met yesterday is our new teacher. First off, let's find our adjective clause. Can you find it? In this case, we have one of those omitted pronouns. I met yesterday. This is our adjective clause, and we have the word who here, but it's actually omitted. In this case, we omitted it. I met him yesterday. This word, who, is functioning as the object inside of our adjective clause. Inside of our adjective clause, this word, who, is working as the object. We have a different subject. So this is the object, this is our subject, this is our verb, inside of our adjective clause. And if we look at this whole thing, which man? The man is our teacher, which man? Subject adjective clauses are the ones where the keyword is working as the subject inside of the adjective clause. That's like my friend who works. My friend he works. So this one is working as the subject. Can we say who he works? No, because you cannot have a double subject. This word replaces your subject. It's working as the subject. It's holding the place of the subject. The book that shows. We can see that our keyword is working as the subject. And then we have our main clause, the book was. Object adjective clauses are when the keyword is working as the object. Mary is the girl who I met. It's like saying I met her. So this is working as the object. The man I met yesterday is our new teacher. The man who I met yesterday. In this case, who is the object, I is the subject, and met is the verb. For both subject and object adjective clauses, both of them can be in the subject or the object position of our main clause. It can be in the subject or the object position of our main clause. So when we talk about subject adjective, so please be careful with that when we're talking about this. It's not about its job in the main clause, it's about how our keyword works inside of our adjective clause. I hope that helps clear up some some confusions, and please let me know if you have any questions. You can email, you can bring your questions to class.